poppin' yo, welcome back to another YouTube video, and today we are taking a look at another pilot here on YouTube for its own YouTube series. However, this pilot is based around Scooby-Doo, and it is called Mystery Incorporated. It is a channel here on YouTube, and it is a pilot here on YouTube, and I do believe it is made by a solely independent people who are here for YouTube, and it is a knockoff sort of Scooby-Doo. We've had a lot of reiterations of Scooby-Doo in the past with Velma, with sort of Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, with Scooby-Doo the live action movies, with the Boomerang version of Scooby-Doo. However, this one is just called Mystery Incorporated. It's not called Scooby-Doo, but it is a Scooby-Doo story. This does follow Fred, Daphne, Velma, and Shaggy all going to high school here in Coolsville. And let's get into the story, because Google doesn't actually say anything about this. So how this film opens up is with 5 characters all doing their own thing. It is Fred narrating the start and Fred narrating the end, because he's obviously the main character. His parents had just been murdered by a ghost, and he is constantly looking for an answer throughout this episode. He starts off at baseball practice and lifting weights. He starts a fight with the principal's son. He gets in trouble, and if he starts another fight with the principal's son, he's going to get suspended. But he goes to the baseball team, and then he goes to the library after school to sort of research on these demons, because he thinks he saw a demon kill his parents. Velma then shows up, and their stories now intertwine. Previously, before this, Velma was just sat in science doing science work, nothing too particular. She brought her mum some flowers home and made sure she was okay, because she is a raging alcoholic and she's constantly researching demons just like Fred is. But their stories are now together as she goes to see him in the library and tells him demons aren't real, and she's warning him of the path that he's going down, which is his mother's path. So Fred's like, hey, if you want to stop this, bring as much evidence as you can to convince me that demons aren't real, and I'll drop it. So they meet up again at 6 o'clock later that night, and yeah, they try and convince him that demons aren't real. They fail, so they go to the mum's bookshop into the demon section. They find a book that her mum's reading. It's written all in Latin, and they basically summon the 13 pillars. They basically summon 13 demons to this realm, and it runs to a house party. So they run to the house party and trap the demon. That is where their story ends, now that they're looking into the other 12, trying to find and stop them. That's what they were doing this entire thing. They do, walk past Shaggy, and they do walk past Daphne, but they don't really communicate. Fred and Daphne sort of look at each other twice, and it's like a little, hey, I kind of like you, I think you're attractive, but it's just said with her eyes and said with her face. It's not actually said with any words. So let's go on to Daphne's story, as she's the one that I mentioned last. So she is at home. The movie opens with her at home, and she's chilling, she's vibing, she's practicing her smile in the mirror for when she becomes prom queen. Her mum says, hey, your chef's cooking you food. Come on, tea's almost ready, come downstairs. And she's like, oh, is it French toast? And the mum's like, no, that's full of fat, full of carbs. You can't eat that, you're going to be prom queen. You need to have a strict diet and look the best you can for prom queen. Daphne then gets saddened by this, and the mum's like, you're a Blake, you need to keep up expectations, you need to keep up image. And she's still very upset by this, but she goes along with it. She then goes to school and meets her posse, which is her group of sports lads and popular girls, and they have a rival popular girl group, and both of them have been nominated for prom queen, and that's basically their rivalry throughout the entire movie, throughout the entire episode. They're like, hey, I'm going to be prom queen. No, I am. Daphne actually saves her from getting drugged by her boyfriend, who got the drugs from Shaggy, and she ends up getting her ass sort of embarrassed in front of the whole school at this party, but she feels like it was worth it, and that's pretty much where her story ends. That is it. She didn't do too much of interest in the show. However, Shaggy and Scooby, that is a good thing. They do call him Norville, which is his actual name, but he goes by Shaggy, and he starts off this movie laying in bed, skipping out in school, skipping out in classes, and his dad wakes him up and he says, if there is one more sort of mishap at school, you're going to get, expelled, so I have to drive you to school. and I can't be late to the sheriff's office, so get your ass up and let's go. Scooby doesn't talk, pretty much expected, but Shaggy does talk to Scooby. We then have him go to school. He gets bullied, told that he needs to bring some drugs to the party, and if he doesn't, don't bother showing up. And he goes and gets them. He gets this new drug called, like, J Juice. He gives it to them, and he says this is the last time. He doesn't want to do this anymore. And they beat the shit out of him. He tries to get Scooby to attack him, but Scooby just fucking runs away. To be expected, to be fair. And he goes into the party who he's supposed to be DJing for, and instead of that, it's the Hex Girls that show up. And he watches the Hex Girls perform. He watches the Hex Girls sort of trap the demon that Fred and Velma banished. They brought it back and then trapped it in their necklaces. And that's pretty much where the movie leaves off. This is where the episode is finished with all the characters. So that is all their stories. They're not fully intertwined yet. It is just the pilot, and I think that is really cool. I honestly think the budget for this is way bigger than I would ever expect it to be. The acting is fair enough, a little bit cheesy. That is to be expected. That is to be sort of known, but I don't think like it was all that bad. Like the cheesy sort of voice acting was okay. I think Daphne's actress is a little too old to be playing Daphne, but that's just my personal opinion. Velma is very one note. She's constantly banging on about how science is superior than this, and I don't know. I feel like she's putting on like a higher pitched voice to pretend to be nerdy, but I'm gonna be honest. She doesn't look too nerdy. She looks actually quite attractive, so there's that as well. However, Fred is cool. He's like the jock, which something is I wouldn't expect Fred to be. Would never expect him to be a jock. I don't know why. Out of all my Scooby-Doo watchings and all my Scooby-Doo experiences, I would have never expected Fred to be a jock. He's constantly going on about traps, constantly trying to like trap the demons, going on about this paranormal. I wouldn't have expected him to be like a nerd, but I don't think he would have been a jock. I think he'd be like a drama student, if I'm going to be honest. I feel like that's what Fred would be, not like a big musclehead. I expected Daphne to be the popular girl, honestly, and her drama was boring. I was not invested. I was not interested. The bullying with Shaggy, I really did like. Like, obviously, I don't condone bullying, and I didn't like him being bullied. But I liked the way the story was told and how he was being, like, pushed into getting them drugs. And even though he tries to stop and says no more, he's going to get bullied and he's going to get beaten if he doesn't. And he doesn't know what to do because he can't go to his dad and say that he's been getting drugs because obviously he has done drugs before. He has been doing drugs, but he's trying to go clean. And they're not stopping that, so he can't go to his dad because his dad's a police officer. And his dad will be like, "Hey, why the fuck are you getting drugs? Where are you getting drugs from? Tell me all the drug people." And then that's just going to be a whole other mess. So he doesn't really have anyone to talk to other than Scoob. But Scoob's just a dog, and Scoob can't really do as much as talking to a person can. And I would like to see him talk to his friends about it, like Daphne, talk to Velma, even, and Fred. It is looking like Velma and Fred are sort of getting to know each other quite well in this pilot. So I would be interested to see how they get the other two involved. Because, I don't know, Fred and Velma sort of got together as like a friendship group due to a similar interest and a similar connection. So that felt very natural and it didn't feel forced. So I hope that when they try and involve like Shaggy and Daphne, they don't like force them into it and it doesn't feel all janky and shit. There is some other things which I do like. The prosthetics on the demons are so fucking cool. We had Minor 49er being the main opening demon, which was incredible. And the Hex... Sorry. And the Hex Girls being the main demon was also really interesting. Like, I didn't expect the Hex Girls to be the main villain. Like, being the villain, like, the coolest girls in the fucking club... Everyone loves the Hex Girls. Like, the Hex Girls are, like, the goth girls, and they're sort of, like, in the category of Raven and Darkfire of the OG cartoons, which, like, made everyone go to, like, goth girls and, like, baddies. Gonna be honest, their actors are really cool as well. I like their actors. They sing really nicely as well. Their song was cool. I enjoyed the song that they sang in, obviously, you know, the party that they sang. However, I don't know if Shaggy invited them, because they said that Shaggy invited them, and Shaggy hired them, but Shaggy was preparing to DJ, so someone else had to hire them. And I don't think anyone else could have, so I think that they knew that the demon was going to be there. But even if they did, the demon wasn't out until they were already there. So there is still some mystery around the Hex Girls, and I'm just very excited to see where this series goes. There is a lot of references to the OG Scooby-Doo, which I do love. I like all these little references and Easter eggs. It is so cool that they got as many Easter eggs as they did. I could sit here for hours talking about how many Easter eggs and sort of clues that there were to the original, but I'm not going to do that because there's way too many to count. I do recommend you go watch this. I think it is the best new version of Scooby Doo that there is. Velma is absolute shit, and everyone knows it. I don't know how it's got a season 2, and I want more of this. I would gladly have this over Velma, so I would much prefer people put money into this. People start watching this, give this as much support as you can, because this is genuinely one of the better versions of Scooby Doo. The script and the writing can do a little bit better. However, Scooby Doo's always been like cheesy. I will sort of say that Scooby Doo's always been like a little bit cheesy, especially like the OG live action ones. But other than that, there isn't much else to say about it. I'm gonna give it like a 10 out of 10. I genuinely think it is a really good Scooby Doo live action, and to say the budget that it's on, and to say the sort of homemade aesthetic of it, it's definitely one of the best. So other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this YouTube video. I'll see you all in the next one. I hope you all have an excellent day, and let me know what you want me to review next, and I'll get on it as quickly as possible. But other than that, I gotta say bye-bye, and I'll see you later.